In today's news, the first official trailer for the epic return is finally here. I cannot believe we're actually getting a Mortal Kombat movie this September. It's been a long time coming, but it looks like it might be worth the wait. Plus, there's a ton of Easter eggs to go over in the trailer itself. So let's get right into it. Welcome back, everyone. I am here for the channel, and this is your daily reminder that with great power comes great responsibility. So the first thing I want to say is thank you to the studio and to Warner Brothers Pictures for releasing the teaser. I mean, just look at all those views. Yeah, you can tell people are hyped. People are very hyped. The first thing that immediately jumps out at me is the use of "Who's next" in the teaser. This was the slogan of the most recent Mortal Kombat games, and now it's going to be used for the new film. And since the film will be a direct sequel to the 2021 film, it does seem to suggest that the new film will continue off of the ending of the last one. In fact, the ending of the first film leaves off with a perfect setup for the sequel, because not only do we know Liu Kang is now a fire god, but the teaser even shows us some footage from the end of the last film when he is fighting with the sorcerer Shang Tsung. And as you know, Shang Tsung absorbed the souls of Earthrealm warriors and became more powerful because of it. But the teaser makes it look like maybe Liu Kang has the upper hand against him. So I'm really excited to see how they flesh out their relationship in the sequel. And in case you don't remember how they defeated Shang Tsung in the last film, well, here's a quick refresher. Before Liu Kang could finish off Shang Tsung. However, Shang Tsung absorbed the souls of all the warriors Liu Kang defeated in the tournament and became way more powerful. Even Raiden couldn't stop Shang Tsung. He could only watch as his friends and allies turned into souls and entered Shang Tsung. After consuming these souls, Shang Tsung became invincible and easily overpowered Liu Kang, knocking him into a portal to the Netherrealm. While Shang Tsung had the upper hand, Jax arrived and distracted Shang Tsung, giving Liu Kang time to recover and find a way to fight back. When Shang Tsung tried to absorb Jax, however, his powers didn't work. You see, Jax's cybernetic arms were interfering with Shang Tsung's ability to suck the soul out of him. Realizing that the Earthrealm's warriors were somehow immune to his powers, Shang Tsung tried to attack them by throwing projectiles at them. However, each projectile Liu Kang absorbed, becoming stronger as he collected more and more of them. Eventually, Shang Tsung realized what was happening and attacked Liu Kang, absorbing the projectiles and turning them against him. As Shang Tsung prepared to deliver the final blow, however, Jax grabbed him and ripped his arm off. Losing his arm caused Shang Tsung's power to become unstable, causing him to explode and freeing the souls of the other fighters. With Shang Tsung defeated, Raiden returned the souls to their bodies, bringing them back to life. And while celebrating their victory, Raiden revealed to Liu Kang that he was destined to be the new fire god. And if that wasn't enough, when Liu Kang looked up into the sky, he saw Hanzo Hasashi, or Scorpion, looking down at him, which means the god of thunder is about to get some backup. But anyways, now that you guys have a refresher on what happened in the last film, let's get back to this trailer. At around the 30-second mark, we get our first look at Johnny Cage in the new film. He's played by the very handsome Louis Tan, and as you can see, he's still missing an eye. If you recall from the previous film, we never got to see what happened to Johnny Cage at the end of the movie after he and Sonya Blade went through that portal. Well, apparently the portal transported them to Outworld and left them stranded there. And judging by the tone of the film, it doesn't seem like they had a fun time being stuck there. In fact, it looks like they may have been imprisoned for quite some time. And speaking of Sonya Blade, she's not in this shot, but we do get to hear her voice. She sounds just like Jessica McNamee, so it's definitely her. And she says, "You need to make a choice, Cage." To which Johnny responds, "I'm choosing Earthrealm." Now, this dialogue implies that Johnny and Sonya were given an opportunity to switch sides and join Outworld, but Johnny refuses and instead chooses to remain loyal to Earthrealm. Also, if you look behind Johnny, you can see a familiar face that also happens to be missing an eye. If you didn't recognize him, let me help you out. His name is Cabal, and he is a deadly assassin who serves as an enforcer for the Special Forces in Outworld. And if you're wondering who's playing him, it's Daniel Nelson. Moving on, at about the 47-second mark, we get to see a few brief shots of some of the other characters, namely Katana and Melina. They're both in a courtyard type setting with many different statues surrounding them. We don't get much to go off of, but it's safe to say this is probably an outworld. In fact, if you've played any of the Mortal Kombat games, you may recognize this place. It's actually inspired by the Gardens of Eden in the original game. But we'll have to wait until the movie comes out to see if that's actually the case. Either way, I'm sure we'll learn more about Outworld in general in this new film because we really didn't get much of an explanation in the last one. All we really know is that Shao Kahn rules it with an iron fist and he hates Earthrealm. And while we're talking about Shao Kahn, he actually makes an appearance in the trailer too. He's only shown briefly, but if you look closely at the shadow on the wall at around the 1 minute, 2-second mark, you can see a huge head with sharp horns on it. That's definitely Shao Kahn. Now, the next character I want to talk about is Goro, if you didn't know. Goro is a Shokan warrior who served as Shao Kahn's personal champion and enforcer. He is known for being one of the deadliest fighters in all of Outworld, and he can transform into a dragon. Well, it looks like they're re-keeping things pretty true to the character because we can see in this shot that Goro can indeed transform into a dragon. Now, I think this is supposed to be the same Goro we met in the last movie because he was half transformed when he fought Liu Kang. But as I mentioned earlier, this is probably just another indication that the new movie will pick up right where the old one left off. Next, I want to talk about this shot at around the 1 minute and 30-second mark. At first glance, it doesn't look like anything too crazy. We can see what appears to be a small group of Earthrealm warriors standing on top of a building looking out over the city. But when you pay closer attention, there's a lot more going on. For starters, on the far left, you can see a familiar face. If you remember from the last movie, at the end when everything was being reset, Raiden brought the fallen warriors back. One of them was Kung Lao. Well, it looks like he's here. And if you look closely, he even has his signature hat on. And yes, that is Saranjang playing him. Now you may be asking, wait a minute, didn't Kung Lao die in the last movie? Well, yes, he did. But if you recall, when Raiden brought him back, he didn't bring him back as a baby. He brought him back as an adult. So presumably that means this is a grown-up Kung Lao. And speaking of grown-ups, we can also see a grown-up Liu Kang in this scene as well. Not only that, but it looks like he's wearing his iconic black and gold outfit. So I'm really digging the costume design so far. And speaking of iconic outfits, I think this shot at around the 1 minute and 36-second mark shows off the classic ninja getup that Scorpion is known for. We don't actually get to see the person wearing it yet, but my guess would be that it's either going to be Hanzo Hasashi or Ermac. I personally think it's Hanzo because in the last movie when we saw him, he was already wearing a dark blue shirt with black pants. So it would make sense that he would upgrade to the full ninja getup in the new movie. Also, if you look closely, the person is carrying a spear, which is Scorpion's weapon of choice. But it could also be Armac since he can also teleport and create these flaming skulls. And we know from the last movie that he was resurrected as an adult instead of a baby, so it would make sense that he would be here as well. The next thing I want to talk about is the score. The music in this trailer sounds epic. I mean, you can really feel the energy and intensity building up with each scene. And as soon as the first notes started playing, I knew it was a throwback to the classic Mortal Kombat theme song. And I was right. Jeremy Sao is the composer for this film, and he's responsible for a lot of the iconic scores we've heard in video games, movies, and TV shows. Fun fact, he also composed the score for the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie. So you can probably imagine how happy I was when I heard he was gonna be working on this movie. And if you want to listen to the track for yourself, it's available on various music platforms.